Hi, I'm Ty Knight for TK24 Sports. Now on today's show, this is going to be part 2 of the European Super League conversation. Now, I'm very straightforward, and this is just big news. It really is big news, but I take time to process things, try and get as much information as possible, so when I deliver it to you guys, you will see that I've done my due diligence, unlike the FA, Premier League, and every other governing body league. Let's get into this one right now. So I'll tell you one thing. Us as fans has actually been drinking this Kool-Aid for a long time. And as I explained in the last video, we're now seeing something come to light. The Super League is not new. This format is not new. They've been telling us this for years, for decades, years and years and years. And we just, you know what? We took a blind eye to it. We've been drinking their Kool-Aid for so long. And, Hydra is here. We thought Hydra was just basically in the Marvel films. No, Hydra is here. The devil is in plain sight. And you know what the devil does really well? He hides right in plain sight, and we just walk right past it and pretend that we didn't see it, but we did, but we just turned a blind eye. But I'll tell you one thing that's annoying me. Not because I'm a black man, what I'm about to say. A couple of weeks ago, I'm not even going to mention the club or the player, but Rangers player Kamara got racially abused. What was the sentence? A 10-game sentence. 10-game suspension from UEFA. There weren't no kicking or screaming or this president coming out and saying, this is bad for the game. This is disrupting the game. This is not what the game is about. It's about competitive. It's about people coming together, people being together, and all in one inclusive game. Where was Sky Sports really and truly on this? Where were all Talk Sport and all the other media platforms kicking up an outrage because of the 10-game sentence and then condemning UEFA? Where was all that? When all these racial abuse things happen, it's like a bit of a movement. It's like, you know what, let's just jump on this right now and say our piece, look like we're actually all about the beautiful game. But it also goes to show one thing is clear and evident in day. Doesn't matter if you're black, white, brown, gay, straight, or whatever. Money always takes power over the human life and a human form. So why is everyone now kicking up a storm because 6 teams want to break away and do their own thing? See, this is the problem, isn't it? It's drinking the Kool-Aid. Because the Kool-Aid is about to run out and we don't like it, even though we may support the clubs who are looking to break away, we're more incensed in that than looking after the people that's on the pitch that play. But yet the FA have a lot to answer for. The Premier League has a lot to answer for. Have you looked at the fit and proper test that it takes for an owner to come in and actually run a football club? It's a joke. I could right now own a football club. I can go and look to purchase a football club with a consortium behind me, proving I've got the means to run this club. There's some BS in there about every 3 months I just have to show that I'm paying my tax, that I'm not a criminal, that I abide by their little BS policy. But at no point in their fit and proper test does it say that I will come in, take this club, and then look to move it into a different direction afterwards. Not one part of it at all. So can you see the problem? The FA and the Premier League are part of this. But what they didn't realise was the Super League was going to take form. UEFA didn't realise the Super League was going to take form. They thought it was a joke. They just thought it was a bunch of people talking a bunch of nonsense, and that was it. It was just a pipe dream. No, the pipe dream is real. And guess what, people? The Super League is going to happen. Do you think these owners care if they get kicked out of the Premier League when they're going to get backed for 300 plus a million a year? Please. The Premier League can't even touch that. The Champions League couldn't even touch that. When you put those two revenues together, they can't get close to it. So do you think now they care if they get kicked out of the domestic league, knowing they can get up to 300 million a year? And that's without TV revenue, without the other sponsorships, without the other commercial deals that can actually happen at the back of this. We as fans are much to blame to this because we've been drinking the Kool-Aid for far too long. What could we have done? You're thinking, well, Ty, what could we have done? What could we have done to really, really make sure this couldn't have happened? One, we could have really not turned up to games when we wanted to, but you say, well, time my support, I don't really turn my back on the club. But guess what you're doing now? You turn your back on the club because you don't like what they're about to do. You should have seen this coming. When your club has been muted from time ago about the Super League happening, where were you? Where were we? But here we are now, kicking up, it's not fair, competitiveness. Where were you guys when the Premier League were basically rinsing the hell out of this product, charging billions just to stream the BS of the Premier League? Where was it uproar? Where was it uproar when Sky were charging us pay-per-view money? Did Sky have an issue charging us pay-per-view money in the pandemic? No, people were losing their jobs, but they still tried to rinse us for it, didn't they? And now Sky's saying, it's out of order, man. You know, we can't allow this to happen. No, what you don't want to happen is for your bloody... Ooh, calm down, Ty. What you're not looking to try and do is not be out of a job. That's what you're trying to do for all these pundits are talking about. Because they realise if the Super League happens, it's going to be super without them. I'm not saying I condone the Super League at all whatsoever because it's not going to be competitive. How the hell can my team, Arsenal, be involved in the Super League when we never won a European, well, let's say a heavyweight European Cup? We haven't. Spurs, don't even get me started on them. They don't even won a league title. Cheese and peas. Spurs, Arsenal, the team who let their players go to their rivals to become a super team. An owner who doesn't put his hands in his own pockets, who has failing franchises in the American game. And isn't the crazy one? They took over a club and didn't understand about a promotion and relegation, and he passed a fit and proper test. There's not 1 ounce on this paperwork that actually tells or asks the question, and they sit down for an interview and say, do you understand football? Do you understand this promotion and relegation? Do you understand the money that comes into it? You know, in this paperwork that you're about to sign, it says you cannot look to move this club outside of, let's say, the home of where it is, within the vicinity. We've got to give some sort of radius because they want to move stadiums and so forth. There's got to be a little bit of scope on there, so I'll give them that. But I will say this, no way in hell should they be allowed to look to make their own competition. That's not in the fit and proper test. So the FA, Premier League, well done. This is on you. You failed your own fit and proper test. Hence why I'm saying again, people, we've been drinking the Kool-Aid for far too long, and now we're all in anger, and this is not right, and this is not fair. I'm not going to turn up anymore. But how many of you still wearing the shirt? How many of you have renewed your season ticket for next season? Well, I'm not going to do that right now. No, I'm not. No, you will. Of course you will. Because you can't help yourself. We're junkies of football. So at any given moment in time, just embrace the fact that the Super League is going to happen. It may not happen in this format as the way they want it to. And again, this Hydra unit moving forward now, it's a joke. You type in the European Super League, they don't even have a website. At least when you type in the Champions League, you go into the UEFA website and you can see what they're about. You know, it's a bit of a Ponzi scheme at the same time. The same with FIFA. They're not angels. None of these guys, none of these people, organizations are angels. And yet we're going mad at the Super League where we should go mad at each and every single one of them? Seriously. Why are we getting angry at the Super League when we should be getting angry at the FA, the Premier League, UEFA, FIFA, all of the organizations? La Liga, Serie A. Oh my God, there's so many football federations we should be getting mad at because we allowed them to make this happen. Why? Again, we've been drinking their bloody Kool-Aid. The Kool-Aid's running out. This is no different than like any other tech company that comes along and sees what's money that could be made. This is what these guys are in for. It's the money. It's always been about the money. And we've known that. We've always talked about it. It's not just on my show and other people's show. We've always spoke about, they're in it for the money. They're in it for the money. But we kept on drinking the Kool-Aid. We kept on turning up to the games. We kept on buying those overpriced, dry, crusty hot dogs, burgers, chips, you name it. We bought it. The kit comes out. We rush out. We go and buy it. We've been drinking the Kool-Aid. And guess what? Now the Kool-Aid's turning sour, and now we're all up in arms about it. Look, if you just take a step back, we sit back. I'm serious people about this. Sit back and realize we have been part of this movement. We showed them just how much money that could be made. We keep on telling them, I put all my money into this. You know, sometimes I give up Christmas and I give up this and I give up my family. You're telling them, boy, if you guys are prepared to give that up and you're still going to follow your team around the world, man, how much more money can we extort from you? The 39 games was muted before the super team or super Euro, whatever you want to call this damn thing, was going on. The FA were trying to, the Premier League were trying to get a 39th game abroad to get more money out of this. They were trying to, and they've been trying for years. You remember that? Do you remember that? I bet you'd be thinking to yourself right now, I'll take the 39th game if we don't get the Super League. Wouldn't you? Of course you would. You see, these owners who come into it are not football people. And I'm not saying you've got to be a football person to own one of these clubs. No, actually, I'm going to take that back. You should be I almost said it. You should be a football person coming in to own the team. Your interest should be how to better the team. It should also be in a fit and proper test. How much are you looking to invest in this team each year to compete? And how are you going to fund to compete? Are you going to use your money? Are you going to use a club? None of this is in the fit and proper test. So, like I said, I and you literally right now can go and buy a football club. It is so easy to do. Because the fit and proper test is just a joke. It's harder to actually get a job in an interview than it is harder to own a football club right now in a fit and proper test. It's harder to put a CV together to get an interview than it is to run a football club and pass a fit and proper test. It's harder to get a driving license than it is to run and own a football club. Think about what I'm saying to you. It's harder to get a driving license. It's harder to get a job right now than it is to own and run a football club. Because the Kool-Aid is this way for everyone. As long as you've got money, as long as you've got backing, you can run a club. And we've allowed this to happen for far too long. And we can't be up in arms about this situation right now when we should be up in arms about the injustice of what happens on the pitch. Stop picking and choosing when you think it's right to be all high and mighty. Be high and mighty for the bigger problems on and off the pitch than what these owners are doing right now. Be high and mighty when someone gets racially abused or there's homophobic slurs going on in and around the game. You want to kick up, you don't want to kick up and scream then. You're not trying to say that the club should be booted out. This UEFA guy is trying to say, you know what? These clubs should be booted out of the Champions League and the Europa League right now because of what they're trying to do. Wow. Well, I like the passion. Boris Johnson coming up, yeah, we're going to make sure that this never happens again. So, where was you for the players? Where were you when they're the victims? Where were you when they're getting death threats online? I don't see you with this stance. I don't see you and your minister cabinet people coming up with this stance. You see what I'm saying? Because their Kool-Aid, the bag, is about to run dry, they want to do something about it. They don't give a damn about the Super League. They give a damn about the revenue. They don't give a damn about the competitiveness. They give a damn about the revenue going in their back pocket. Because Hydra is here. Hydra has been forming a long time ago. And remember Arsene Wenger when everyone, even I used to cuss him back in the day when he got a bit sloppy. But the man was talking sense. He told us it's coming. He was part of meetings. He wasn't part of it like he wanted it to happen. He was telling us what's about to happen and we closed our eyes and ears to it all. And now it happens and everyone's resurfacing Arsene Wenger's quotes. In 10 years from now, there will be a Super League. He told us. And what did we do? Nothing about it. What did UEFA do? Nothing about it. One of the most respected men out there, words have come to fruition and we are now seeing it. And it's too late. These owners do not care if they're in the Premier League, Serie A, La Liga. They don't care no more because they know they can make so much more money. The bag is on its way. It's in the air. You've got JP Morgan funding it. You know, if they can turn around and say, well, we'll heavy tax you with blah, blah, blah. guess what? They don't care. They can call it the European Super League. They can call it the World League. And they don't have to run under your jurisdiction. That's just the truth of it. You may do your best and say you can't play football in these lands. Fine, we'll go elsewhere. Think about that. You can threaten them as much as you want, and they can just turn around and say, fine, we'll take this game elsewhere in a country where it can be done. Oh, let's see, the land of the brave and the free. Oh, let's just take it to America because they would accept us. Of course they could. They can uproot our clubs as the owners of the clubs and take it wherever they want to, because there's nothing in the fit and proper test to say that they can't do it. And that's the truth of it. Okay? So look at the bigger picture. The bigger picture is this. They don't care about us as fans. The FA never cared about us. The Premier League never cared about us. Sky Sports never cared about the fans. They had people on there as a pundits and to say, listen, on today's show, yeah, just act as if like you guys care. Say your piece, you know, do this, do that, and blah, blah, blah. If Gary Neville was playing right now, do you think he would be as outspoken as he is now? When he was a player, he was a mouse. Let's be real. Did you see Gary Neville ever doing interviews? Jamie Carragher ever doing interviews after games? But now they got a voice. Why? Because really and truly, they just want to say their piece. But when they was getting paid by the man, they were cool with it. When they was making their millions by the man, they were cool with it. Every football pundit right now who play the game were cool picking up the bag. They were cool drinking the Kool-Aid, cool living the high life. But now they've all got something to say about it. It's funny that you don't see too many footballers coming out right now saying too much about it, because they're thinking and their agents are saying, listen, this could be a good moment for us. I know you may have a piece about this and you may not agree with it, but just get on board with it. Because if it's not going to be you, it's going to be someone else. And that's the truth of it. And that's why the Premier League don't like it. That's why the FA don't like it. That's why maybe other clubs don't like it. It's because they're realising, oh, this ain't fair. This ain't good. Do you think the Premier League clubs, when they get all those millions every year, are worried about League One, Championship, League Two? No. Do you think it was fair that you can get relegated and still get parachute payments and then still have an advantage over leagues, league teams in the Championship? No. They don't care. Those clubs are like, yeah, give me that parachute payment and I can use that to maybe come back up or keep my squad together that got actually relegated, so I still got a Premier League team going into the Championship team. Was that fair? Oh, but we kept on drinking that Kool-Aid. Huh? We kept on drinking that Kool-Aid. Yeah, we was celebrating Hydra in plain view. But here we are, moaning, complaining. Oh, this ain't fair. This ain't competitive. The fact that these clubs then took the initiative to try and set something up, make more money, and then include everyone else. Would we complain as much? Would the Premier League complain as much if they was getting a big piece of that pie? If UEFA got a big piece of that pie, the FA and all other football federations got a big piece of that pie, would they complain as much? No, not at all. And there you have it. So, when you look into blast anyone, blast the FA, blast the Premier League, blast UEFA for letting this happen. They told you this was going to happen. To your face, they told you this was going to happen, and they let it happen. And check this one out again. UEFA tried the financial fair play, didn't they? Why do you think all of a sudden they decided to drop it? Because they saw this was about to happen. They kept on getting told this was going to happen. The rumours were true. UEFA knew what was going to happen, so they dropped financial fair play and decided to say, owners, put as much money in it as you want. You can spend as much as you want, because they thought, you know what, we might as well just try and join the party a little bit, but we're still not going to give you any more of the piece of the pie that we're making. If UEFA was smart, they could have said, listen, you know what, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do a revenue stream of like this. If you're a bigger club, a bigger statue, we're going to give you a bit more money. It doesn't seem fair, but you know what? You guys bring more to the table than the little teams. Maybe then those clubs would have thought, okay, but I still can't get my head around how Arsenal and Spurs are included in this. If they turn around and said, we're going to take the 3 biggest clubs from each league make this format go this way, I may have said, okay, a bit better than the Champions League. It's 3 of the biggest teams. So you've got the first place, runners-up, and the third. Let's say the third place was done based on a playoff between 3 and 6. You may turn around and say, oh, this is going to be more interesting now. Now clubs are going to have to invest more. Arsenal wouldn't have competed anyway. They wouldn't have. I mean, they don't compete. But the sickening thing about this is that Arsenal and Spurs are in this and they don't even put a damn penny into their club, into their squad. They don't. You know, Spurs sacked Jose today because they're thinking they're going to get 300 million every year, maybe from the start of next season. So they can afford to give this man a payoff. Do you think if this was announced that Jose would have been gone? Hell no. No way, even with the crap football that they played. It's a tough one, guys. It is a tough one. It's a tough one to swallow. It's a tough one to take in. But we just have to look at the bigger picture. Who is really to blame for this? Are we blaming the clubs, or are we going to blame the Football Federation, UEFA, and the Premier League for showing the hand of how much money you can actually make just by televising these games? Look at Sky Sports, look at BT Sport. They're upset because they now know that they're going to have to pay extortionate amount of money or not even be able to show these games anymore. So let's say, I can't even see the Premier League actually kicking these clubs out. I can't, as much as they would want to, but they know that they are the diamonds in it. Imagine the Premier League, and no disrespect to these clubs, it's Leicester versus West Ham. No disrespect to these clubs at all whatsoever. That's the highlight of the Premier League. Newcastle versus Burnley. How many times do you guys even tune in to watch that as a neutral? Let's be real. You're saying that the game is spoiled, but yet do you tune in to watch Newcastle versus Burnley? Do you tune in to watch Crystal Palace versus West Brom if you are a neutral supporter? Do you tune in to watch those games? Be real. How many of you tune in to watch the Bundesliga, La Liga, Liga, Serie A? How many of you actually tune in to watch all those teams? You don't know the percentage. You don't even watch the Championship. You don't watch League One. You don't even watch League Two. Let's be real, because I don't even watch it. I'm not saying because I don't watch it, that doesn't mean that you don't watch it, but let's be real. We kind of watch our teams, and some of us are flaky fans in the greatest respects, where we don't even hardly watch our team anymore. But yet we've got something to say about it now. That's the issue. When we think this is unjust, we choose money over what's right and justice, what happens to the players on the pitch. Think about it. We're actually fighting for the Premier League and FA's money. We're not fighting for someone's race or their sexual identity. We're fighting for someone's money. Just to take a big look at ourselves. No one's even come out today and even talked about it and saying how it's more disrespectful than the fact that we're fighting for a breakaway league than we're fighting for someone who only got a 10-game ban for calling someone a monkey. That's the joke of it. That's the joke of football. That's the joke of sports. And it's always been that way. Always been that way. So where do we go from here? I couldn't even pretend to write a formula down to say I think this is how the format should go. I do believe the Super League and UEFA need to sit down and talk. I do believe the Super League teams need to come together with the governing bodies as well as teams in their respective league and come together and say, look, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to make as much money as possible for all of us. For all of us. But we need to make the competition better. We need to make it bigger. We need to make it more sellable. The Champions League is cool, but you have to admit the qualification games, the group stages, shall I say, they're rubbish, aren't they? They are rubbish. You're going to get 2, maybe 3 good teams, but mainly 2 teams in each group stage. Apart from that, you get to the knockout stage and it starts getting a bit more fruitful, it gets a bit more excited. Like this year's Champions League, how good has it been for the knockout stages? Pretty good, right? Okay. Same for the Europa League. If they just revamped it and just come up with something, I might have to do another video for tomorrow, no, on Wednesday, and I think I've got one planned. I'm just writing it up right now, because again, when I come on here, I just don't want to keep on talking from the soul and from the heart. I just want to give truth, and these are the truths. I've read a few comments today, I've replied to those comments, and people have been asking me, Ty, what's your thoughts on it? Ty, what's your thoughts on it? I'm like, hey man, Hydra's here. Hydra's in effect. My sister started laughing when I said about Hydra. It's true. They've been hiding in plain sight, and that's sometimes the hardest ones to find. So when they're right in front of you and you don't see it because you're looking for the devil behind, but the devil hides in plain sight. It's no religious thing, it's just the truth. Look, guys, we sometimes have to take the emotions out of it and look at the bigger picture. My club is a disgrace to the fact that they've even entered this. Spurs, it's a joke that even Spurs are involved in this at all whatsoever. I would say the most super team in England I would say on merit would be United and Liverpool, but I'll put Liverpool ahead of United because Liverpool's got 6 European Cups and 19 Premier League titles. You know, United's got, what, 3 European Cups and 20 league titles, but I still put Liverpool ahead. They've got the credentials to call themselves a European Super League team. That is it. Out of all the 6, that is just the one. All the others are wafy teams. They are. And Arsenal is just the butt of the joke, and Spurs are just the crust of it all. Spurs haven't even been competing in the Premier League at all whatsoever. Haven't competed in the Champions League. And don't get me onto my team, Arsenal. After, 22 years in the Champions League, they got to 1 final, and that is it. 1 final in 22 years. 3 Premier League titles since the day it was formed from 1992. 3! It's a joke. And they call themselves a Super League team. Please, man. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up here. Guys, we've been drinking the Kool-Aid for far too long. We have been part of the problem, but the main problem also is the FA, is the Premier League, but we've been drinking this Kool-Aid of the Champions League, the Europa League, the Premier League, saying it's the best league in the world. We've hyped this league up to be the best in the world. From the best league in the world, they now want to go and form a better league in the world. And you have to admit, when you look at the teams that's in there, it does look pretty good. Take the emotions out of it. That does look pretty good, right, to see those teams. And that is no different than the Champions League, because people say, I can't wait to be in the Champions League. I can't wait for my team to be in the Champions League. This is the Champions League, just a better version of the Champions League. You've been asking, you shall receive, and now you received, and now you don't like what you've been given. Do you think the players are going to come out and really rock the boat? Because the players actually have the biggest say in this more than anything else. If every player actually put in a transfer request right now and said, I will not play in this, and I will not play another Premier League game. Yes, they could be voided of their contract, but the players also know there's actually something in this for me too. So don't actually ask for the players to put the transfer request in. I would say if they've done that, that would show, boy, they really are not having it. But the players are thinking, man, I can cash in on this too. Yeah, let those ex-players and those pundits say all that BS for us. And I may come out and say something on social media. But listen, if I see a player tweet something, that ain't them. That's their little social media account managing team. So I don't take that as a 2 cents or nothing at all whatsoever of what those players actually say. Because none of them control their social media account. Not one of them at all. They can't even hold an interview. Let them, no, don't cuss them, Ty. Don't cuss them, because not all of them are like that. Don't cuss them. Stay calm. Guys, the Kool-Aid is done. Hydra is here, and I'm Time on Night for TK24 Sports. See you soon.